Welcome to Arizona Wildlife Views. I'm your host, Ian Satter. For most of us, there's nothing more fun than a day out in the field. Whether we're scouting our next hunting trip, hiking our favorite trail, or taking a day trip to a faraway place. But what happens when you can't physically get out and enjoy life's greater pleasures? Jerry Dalrymple has the answer. Jerry Dalrymple is a busy man. A very busy man. His job as ADA coordinator for Chase Field, U.S. Airways Center, and the Dodge Theater keeps him on the phone all day. And when he's not on the phone, he can be found in one meeting or another. And then back to the phones, sometimes well into the night. Of course, there's always time to play with a bobblehead or two. But come Friday, Jerry can't wait to enjoy his other passions. So in most respects, Jerry is like the rest of us. In one, he's just a little different. You see, Jerry is wheelchair bound, and that doesn't stop him from enjoying his two favorite outdoor activities, nature photography and hunting. This weekend is no different. We met up with Jerry at Fort Huachuca for a champ white-tailed deer hunt. As always, scouting is the first thing on his agenda. Like the rest of us, he had a lot to do to get ready for this hunt. A quick call to the department.
Customer service, how can I help you?
And Jerry had all the information he needed to acquire his champ permit.
Well, there's an application that has to be filled out for the champ permit.
CHAMP stands for Challenged Hunter Access Mobility Permit.
And a portion of the application is to be filled out by your family physician.
To qualify, persons with disabilities need to have an Arizona doctor statement attesting to their mobility limitations.
You can either come in and pick it up, or we can mail it to you.
Armed with the needed documents, Jerry's next trip is to the local Game and Fish office to get the permit.
Hi, how can I help you today?
I want to get a combination license.
Sunrise comes early on the fort, but that doesn't deter Jerry. At his chosen site before the sun rises, Jerry finds the ideal spot and pulls the truck off the road. The permit allows one thing that other hunters are not permitted.
And basically what it lets you do is let you hunt from a motor vehicle that is not running, is off the main road. You know, you can't drive the roads and then shoot out the window or something like that. But you can use your vehicle as a blind. So if you can set up kind of like we are here, you know, I can stay in the vehicle because I couldn't get around on all this rocky terrain, and I can hunt from here, which gives me the ability to actually get someplace that I can hunt if I can get the vehicle there. It also gives you the opportunity to use other kinds of motor vehicles, you know, like an ATV. You can actually hunt from a boat.
As the light clears the horizon, Jerry and his helper, Tim Dalton, spot their first whitetail. Part of the champ permit allows for a helper with a dispatch permit.
The mission of ADSO is to take disabled people out into the woods, whether it be fishing, hunting, bird watching. I am a licensed guide, but basically I've tried to set up the business more as an assistant. You know, let the hunter be the hunter, you know, actually experience the hunt doing everything himself. And I'm there to help him with, you know, getting the animal, retrieving the animal, gutting it, and doing any of the field dressing.
Well, that one's way out of range.
I waved as they went by.
Better luck next time. Hunters with disabilities have some specialty gear available to assist them in the field.
I stay away from guns, you know, longer guns. That's, you know, like when I bird hunt or anything like that, I shoot a side-by-side double because it's shorter than like a pump or an automatic or something like that, because they're longer guns, and that extra length, you know, makes it harder for me to set up. My rifle here, I finally settled on this one because it's shorter. It's got I think it's an 18-inch barrel, maybe 20, but it's a lot shorter, so it works for me. But it's just what works. Most guys, if you shoot from a wheelchair or something, you'll probably end up with wanting some kind of a rest, you know. And there's all kinds of stuff you can mount on your wheelchair, or something like this thing here that you just, you know, put it on the ground and you can use it to hold your gun and stuff. There's all different kinds. People that have higher level disabilities where they have less finger dexterity and stuff like that. There's all kinds of, there's sip and puff triggers, for guns, so you can, shoot your gun with your mouth as opposed to having to use your fingers. And there's a lot of blind individuals that go bow hunting and gun hunting. They have offset scopes or offset sights on their equipment, and they have a partner that sights over their over their shoulder and tells them when to shoot. I mean, it's just whatever you need. So if I take one,
and what we need to do is find another whitetail. With the sun well above the horizon, that's not likely to happen. So we pack up and do some more scouting. Maybe this afternoon's hunt will be more productive. Jerry never did get his whitetail, so we thought it'd be fun to show you this interesting segment on the cow's white-tailed deer.
The cow's white-tailed deer is one of the smallest subspecies of white-tailed deer found in North America. Adult does average 60 to 80 pounds in weight and stand 24 to 26 inches tall at the shoulder. Mature bucks average 80 to 100 pounds and are 30 to 32 inches tall at the shoulder. In comparison, a northern white-tailed buck in Maine would measure about 36 inches tall. They're all the same species, but habitat quality and genetics affect average size. In Arizona, there are approximately 9,000 square miles of white-tailed deer habitat, supporting an estimated 96,000 adult whitetails. This number fluctuates greatly from year to year in response to climatic conditions and predator densities. Whitetails are found primarily in the southeastern and central portions of Arizona at elevations between 2,500 and 10,000 feet. This range of elevation encompasses a variety of habitats, including Sonoran desert scrub, desert grasslands, oak woodlands, riparian deciduous forests, and montane coniferous forests. Arizona's oak woodlands, found mostly at elevations of 4,000 to 6,000 feet, are home to the greatest number of white-tailed deer, so it's here that you're most likely to spot one. First off, you'll notice that the whitetails are smaller than Arizona's mule deer and look somewhat delicate. They have a distinctive white halo around their eyes and muzzle. For most of the year, the whitetail is a slate gray color, although they may appear reddish-brown in the summer. Unlike mule deer that seasonally herd in large numbers, white-tailed deer typically remain in small groups. The most common group size is 2 to 3. An adult doe may be seen with her yearling and a fawn in the fall. Bucks may be solitary or in a small group, usually with other bucks. You can distinguish the bucks from the does by the presence of antlers because female whitetails don't have them. And notice that, unlike mule deer, typical whitetail antlers are formed by individual tines branching off a main beam. Both main beams curve inward and may even touch, giving the appearance of a crown of antlers on the buck's head. Most bucks will shed their antlers in late spring, between April and May. New antler growth begins almost immediately with a brownish epidermis called velvet, delivering nutrients to the rapidly growing antler structure. When the antlers stop growing and become hard, the velvet is shed. Bucks rub off the velvet on sapling trees and bushes in the early fall, typically in late September or early October. Next comes the rut or mating season. Breeding can occur as early as November or as late as March. Gestation takes approximately 6 to 7 months. Fawns are born from July to September, with peak fawn drop occurring in August. Within the first 2 weeks after birth, fawns become very active and are seen frequently with the doe. Fawns begin to lose their white spots by 40 to 50 days of age, although some spotting may be visible for as long as 80 days. While mountain lions are the primary deer predator in most of Arizona due to their size, stealth, quickness, and killing ability, coyotes catch their share of fawns, adults in poor condition, and pregnant does. In spite of these formidable predators, the long-term status of the whitetail in Arizona is secure. Cow's white-tailed deer are abundant here and distributed across a wide variety of habitats. So the next time you're enjoying Arizona's backcountry and you see that flash of white, you'll know it's just a white-tailed deer waving goodbye.
If you're wondering, the proper pronunciation is cows, although a lot of people still say coos. Either way, they're a fascinating addition to our state and a whole lot of fun to hunt. Speaking of fun to hunt, nothing's better than a day in the field with man's best friend in pursuit of birds.
It has been said that dog is a man's best friend. That statement is spot on when it comes to a good, well-trained pointer. It can make the difference between uncovering birds in the field and walking around all day hoping to get lucky. Now, breed types vary, but one thing they all have in common is a desire to retrieve. Other behaviors advantageous for the sport of bird hunting, like pointing, is something the dog may have an instinct for, but is refined through training. Kit Critchlow is an avid bird hunter and prefers a breed called the Deutsch Drotthar, or more commonly known as the German Wirehair.
This is Ozzy. She's a 3-year-old female. You can see she's got a relatively short, tight coat, but also she has beard, furnishings, a little bit of eyebrow, a protective coat that helps keep briars and so forth from injuring dog when they're out hunting.
This is a class of dog that is beyond doubt built to hunt.
There's probably no better place for one of these dogs than out hunting. They thrive on it. You can see it when they run. Their tail's cracking. They're out there running. You can tell they're trying to find something with all their might. It's really the greatest thing for them ever.
German Wirehairs are known as a versatile hunting breed, which means they can switch their trail tactics or their methods of finding birds depending on the conditions in the field.
What I like to see in a hunting dog is a dog that's has the ability to shift its scenting gears from head high, using the wind, using its nose to search, to dropping the nose a little bit, using the ground scent, and maybe slowing down a little bit so they don't miss some of the birds that are in the field. A dog that really has a good mental stability can figure some of that out and apply the tools that they have genetically to the situation.
The day we were out, the weather changed. By mid-morning, the breeze picked up, and the dog's style of pursuit changed as well.
An experienced dog will acknowledge the fact that they can use their nose more efficiently and cover a lot more area with their nose, because that breeze is going across the ground and carrying the scent maybe 50, maybe 100 meters, and the dog can actually smell bird scent at that distance. And so they start picking their head up and they start using that wind to their advantage.
The German Wirehair is by nature a retriever. Patience and training teaches the dog how to point and hold a covey of quail.
It all really starts from a good, solid retrieving foundation. But without experience and training, they can never reach their full potential. You only can get that by spending time in the field.
Technology plays a part in training as well. These collars aid in teaching the dog a desired behavior.
The electronic training collar has been around for many, many, many years, and hundreds and thousands of hours of research has been done on the safety of electronic training collars. And they are extremely adjustable and variable, and it's a very, very safe, humane, and efficient way to train a dog.
The collars are also useful for the hunter by sounding a tone when the dog is out of sight and standing still. She's probably located a covey. That tone is transmitted to this belt pack receiver, and Kit can find where she's at.
Typically, if I'm walking and my dog's been out of sight for a while, I may stop and put my ear to the wind, so to speak, and listen, and the beeper collar will make a specific noise that my ear is tuned to, and then I know which direction the dog is, and I know that the dog is probably on point because it won't start beeping until the dog stops and is pointing.
These dogs love to get out in the field and hunt. You can see it in the way they run and range over the land. The best part is when they pick up a scent and move around to locate the birds. When a dog finally locates a covey, the most critical part of their training comes into play. It's called manners behind game.
What you'll see is you'll see the dog potentially move their nose in the direction of the wind. They might staunch up for a second and then start moving slowly. Their body really tenses up, and that's when you know they're getting game scent and they're starting to get what's referred to as birdie. And you also may see them maybe start doing some circles. If there's some ground scent, maybe the bird's been running through, you'll see them circle and they'll keep coming back to the same spot trying to figure out which direction the birds went.
Kit prefers the dog to stay on point and not flush the birds until he's ready. These dogs hold statue still. Only the cropped tail twitches.
They're so intense, and you'll just see their tail quivering, and they're so excited, but yet they have got the pointing instinct ingrained so heavily that they don't want to move because they don't want to scare the birds. And the more experienced they are, the more staunch they are, and the more stealthy they are.
Retrieval comes naturally. A dog with a soft mouth or one that will hold the bird gently is desirable.
Yep. Little hand. Sit. Go ahead. Give.
Thank you.
Good girl, Jazz.
Every dog is very, very different in the way they handle game. And the Draghtar breed really likes to retrieve. And typically getting them to pick something up is not a problem.
Oh, good girl.
And it may require a little bit of training to get them to hold that bird softly and deliver it to you. And that's really where the training comes in and not so much the natural ability.
Developing a bond with a well-trained dog can be one of life's great experiences. You get to a point with the relationship where one will know intuitively what the other is thinking. The time you put into training and field work will really pay off when it comes time for the fall hunts.
Using your hunting time to brush up on your shooting techniques just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Whether your sights are set on small birds or big game, or just going out to plink a few targets, shooting ranges across Arizona are becoming more and more popular. Recently, the Arizona Game and Fish Commission gave the department a go-ahead to develop a new range in northern Arizona. But before the dirt could be moved, a lot of study needed to be completed. Okay, quick question. If a rifle is fired in the forest and no one hears it, did it make a sound? Well, yes and no. It all depends on where you are. The department has been spearheading a public planning process to provide a safe, modern regional shooting facility near Flagstaff.
We don't know exactly where the facility is going to be. It's somewhere in this general area as we're looking at.
To meet the needs of recreational shooters and law enforcement agencies, the Arizona Game and Fish Commission gave approval to the department to pursue the Willard Springs site, north of Munns Park and near I-17 as the preferred location. But before we can break ground, a lot of study must go into picking just the right spot for the facility. Early the morning of July 22nd, Game and Fish personnel, sound engineers, and other interested parties met in northern Arizona to study sound characteristics of rifle fire at two sites for our proposed shooting range. After details were discussed and assignments made, 6 teams were sent to various locations around the firing area. Our cameras were at the Munns Park listening station as well as on the firing line. Safety was job one for all participants. In advance of the day's activity, signs were posted in the area to inform the public what was going to happen. Early in the morning, Game and fish officers were placed in strategic locations to help monitor traffic and keep the public safe.
Well, my primary responsibilities today is to clear any possible safety elements with the public here, that it's the public itself from downrange shooting area.
They even went so far as to have a water truck standing by in case muzzle flare or a hot round sparked a fire. The plan was a simple one. Once the teams were set, 5 weapons would each fire 5 rounds at each of the 2 firing sites.
We're going to be preparing to commence with the first stage of fire. It'll be from a 30-06 rifle.
At the same time, sound levels would be recorded.
For this particular test, we opted to use a type 1 accuracy, which is typically used, it's the most accurate meter, it's typically used for laboratory type measurements, but we just wanted to use the most accurate meters for this field test.
A minute of silence would precede and follow each weapon so that background sounds could also be measured. Weapons selected for the test are ones that would typically be found at a firing range. A 7mm rifle, a 44 Magnum handgun, a 30-06 hunting rifle, a 12-gauge shotgun, and the Grand Poobah, a 50 caliber rifle. That baby puts out an ear-ringing 150 decibels at the muzzle. So okay, who heard what?
At this particular location, none of the shots were ever audible for any of the test periods.
Preliminary results indicate that there was no audible or measurable shooting noise. In fact, an engineer at the closest measuring site remarked that a chair thrown into the dump registered higher than the rifle fire, including the 50 caliber.
All 5 calibers, I didn't pick up anything, and I wasn't surprised that we wouldn't hear anything this far away. So, Ben Avery, even on the complex itself, you can go a half mile from the main public range, and it'll be barely noticeable. The berms do a lot to muffle the noise.
And Marty should know a thing or two about berms. He's the range manager at the Ben Avery shooting facility in Phoenix.
You flinched it.
If you've been out to Ben Avery lately, you've noticed that it's getting a facelift, including some really tall berms to help abate sound from the range. So far, over $700,000 worth of free dirt, materials, equipment, and labor has been delivered and placed at the range. In addition to the berms, block walls and a new hunter education shooting range with 3 bays has also been constructed. Soon, bleachers and canopies for shade will be added. New lighting at the main range has made night shooting more appealing. And then there's a flurry of activity happening at the Clay Target Center. On September 18, 2006, after years of private management, the department assumed operations of the Clay Sports Center. After assuring the public that there will be no interruption in services at the range, the race was on to get the facility ship-shape and standing tall. Since it was constructed in the early 60s, the facility had fallen into general disrepair. The electrical system was failing, and many of the trap houses were in need of replacement. In some cases, roofs were literally caving in. The department is committed to creating a world-class facility at the Clay Target Center, including renovations of 6 trap and skeet fields and the hiring of 5 full-time and 9 part-time employees. Work continues at various areas of the Clay Target Center. Renovations are being finalized on the 6 easternmost fields of the trap and skeet line. The skeet houses on these fields have been refurbished and new dividing walls erected. The existing trap houses have been replaced with modern precast trap houses. A new electrical system has been installed, and new card reader and voice activation systems are being added. Game and fish employees have been working feverishly from sunrise to well after sunset to get the work done. Everyone has pitched in, including training several new Clay Target instructors to help ease new shooters into the program.
When we're pointing like this with them, we have that interpersonal relationship that we must have with that.
Renovation of the other trap and skeet fields and clubhouse will begin in the near future. At full build-out, anticipated to be completed by early 2007, The Clay Target Center will have 18 fully functional trap and skeet fields.
Yes, he'll be
No decision has been made on the center in northern Arizona, and there is an update at every commission meeting, so there's plenty of opportunity for public comment. The department is moving forward with a geotechnical and aerial mapping study, land appraisals, and wildlife and other resource surveys. For more information on shooting sports or other department activities, visit our website at azgfd.gov. For producers Carol Lind and Gary Schaefer, I'm your host Ian Satter. Thanks for watching.